Good morning and welcome again to Summit, the program that comes to you every Monday morning like this, discussing political issues and national issues, especially as we gradually get closer to the 2019 election. Just a few weeks to the election, and I believe that Nigerians are ready to go to the polls. I am Jumoke Michaels. You're welcome. Banji is right here.
Jumoke, how are you?
I'm very well.
How was your weekend?
Give God, thank you.
Did you capture, let me ask you, let me start the interview with you.
Okay.
Did you capture the, let me say, letter to the country people by the former president?
Well,
yesterday.
That letter, I don't know how I should classify it. Maybe it's coming at
no,
a
this
good
one,
time.
he didn't actually tag a letter to his countrymen. Letter to the electorate. Actually, telling them not to vote for a particular candidate.
Yeah.
Well, how democratic that could be, only God knows. But in his usual characteristic manner, the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, went to town again yesterday, actually stating reasons why Nigerians should not vote for the incumbent president, President Muhammadu Buhari, the APC Gubernatorial candidate. Well, how much wisdom or how adequate that advice is one of the issues we're actually going to look at in today's edition of Summit. It's just about 25 days to the election, that's presidential election. So people actually, there's so much frenzy in the land now.
Yes.
A lot of campaigns, a lot of horse trading.
It's like people are beginning to wake up.
And sensitization is actually going on daily. Yes, it's actually going. It's expected. It's an opportunity for Nigerians to actually contribute or actually have a say in who governs them. So they should actually, they are the bride now. Everybody's coming to us. My name is Banji Busari. It's a fresh edition of our program Summit, and our guest today, we're actually shifting our focus to Ogun State. Ogun State is the focus today. Jumoke here has the profile of our guest, of course, somebody that you know very well. But of course, Jumoke will do her job.
Yes, this morning we are having someone who's from a former, I think it's former Ogun State House of Assembly, Deputy Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, and presently is the spokesman for the APC Gubernatorial candidate Ogun State. So, he's loaded, and is it only loaded, but having first-hand information of what is actually happening in Ogun State, because we don't want to dwell on speculations. You know, we speculate a lot, but this morning we're going to be having first-hand and real information of what is really going on in Ogun State, and I know people will really love to know. So that's why we have him here with us this morning. So you need to just stay tuned. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have him here with us to divulge all the information we want to know this morning. So stay with us.
For Lagos State, people they say Buhari Kainchara. Hausa people where the Lagos State they say Buhari Mukesara. South people where the Lagos State they shout Buhari we want to. Come on here where the Lagosians they say oh Buhari we want.
People of Lagos don't agree say that only President Muhammadu Buhari go fit continue with the good work wey dey shele for our country for 3 years now. Now the man wey don begin repair our country Nigeria from the bad way e be before when them spoil am with the corruption and thief. People of Lagos State, our country don't better, so it could make we all support and vote Muhammadu Buhari and Professor Yemi Osinbajo as Vice President, so if it continue and finish the good work we they do for we country. So now forward ever and backward never. Vote APC.
Buhari we want to.
Now a co-plus support group power this message.
All right, that's the one of the adverts actually publicizing one of the presidential candidates of our country, President Muhammadu Buhari. But of course, we are shifting to the first segment of the program.
Yes, joining us this morning we have Honorable Remmy Hassan, the former Speaker of the State House of Assembly.
You want to confide the speakership
yes.
of him?
Oh,
Deputy Speaker.
Okay, Deputy Speaker.
Because at the point in time I was Speaker pro tempore, so
okay.
That's not wrong as well.
It's not wrong as well.
Good.
All right, Ogun State House of Assembly and presently is the spokesperson for the APC Gubernatorial candidate Ogun State. You're welcome and thanks for joining us this morning.
It's always my pleasure to be here.
Sir, because we have so much to actually discuss, the profile was actually deliberately cut short so that we can have sufficient time to. Let me take it. You are primarily here to discuss why Ogun State indigenous or electorates in Ogun State should vote for your principal. That's Honorable Dapo Abiodun. Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun as APC gubernatorial candidate for Ogun State.
Exactly.
Now that's the main reason why we are here. But let me start with you, sir. Today you are here speaking for APC. I need to know your ideological focus. A couple of years ago, you were a PDP member and a formidable one at that. Deputy Speaker of Ogun State House of Assembly. What's your ideological focus?
Basically, my ideology in politics is to satisfactorily impact on the people that we lead, using the instrumentality of government and governance to ensure that their interest at every level, local, state, and federal, are protected. Ideally, we will have been able to say, okay, this is the political institution that we are aligning with. Fortunately, the Nigeria of this present time, parties are at best election-winning platforms, not necessarily leaning on some kind of ideology that you can hold on to particularly. What you did not even mention was that I was once in ACN, and what took me to ACN was because at the time that I was in PDP and the Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, there were issues between us and the government of the day, and that led to that government blocking most of us who are the dramatics personnel from contesting election. And because we knew that we're connected to the people that we represent, if we are able to get another platform to run, the people will understand that yes, their interest is what our struggle was all about. And we moved then to ACN and won the election, even when that government was still incumbent at that time. So that tells you really that it is more of connecting with the people than connecting with party. So my ideology basically is more of whatever will impact the people, that they will have their interests protected in government. That's just what I represent. Today I am in the All Progressive Congress, not for anything, but because I feel that the interests of my people will be well protected in this party. And that's why we're here, and we're ready to hit the ground running.
All right, the issue, let's go straight to the Obasanjo issue.
Go ahead, please.
All right. So that letter that was written to the electorate, how would you classify it coming at a time when it's just barely
days to election?
Yeah, to the election. How would you qualify?
We're in a nation where the fundamental human rights of people, as Nigeria as a country subscribed to the UN Human Rights Charter of 1948, we're in a nation that guarantees fundamental human rights. To that extent, every man has a right to his opinion. And Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, respected elder statesman, has spoken the way he feels. And yesterday, the National Publicity Secretary of my party sufficiently responded to that. And whatever has been said at that level remains the opinion of the party. We don't have any other thing to add.
But yeah, you may choose to ignore what he said. But if you look back, history has taught us in the last couple of elections, the man has actually come and made fundamental statement about the candidates of some, in the past. Now, outside the party, even his own party in 2015.
That's right.
And it turned out to be his wish that actually prevailed.
I would rather wish.
Do you suspect that his wish or his whatever will prevail?
The will of God and the will of the people will ultimately prevail. If the will of the people somehow coincide with what anybody wants, that doesn't mean that the person is God. It can only be God that can enthrone and dethrone. So if Chief Obasanjo has spoken the way he wants, the people are at liberty to take their own decision. Our party has responded sufficiently, and we leave the people of Nigeria to take their decision. 16th of February is here, and we trust God that we will come out victorious.
Okay, that's as far as national is concerned. Let's move to your state. That's where you reside, and that's where you would cast your vote for the gubernatorial candidate of your choice, Prince Dapo Abiodun, gubernatorial candidate of All Progressive Congress, Ogun State. Now, the process that actually threw him up in the primaries was allegedly flawed by the incumbent governor, and out of maybe his decision, he threw his weight behind another candidate in another party. Saying that process producing Prince Dapo Abiodun was largely flawed. What's your account? What's your, just as Jumoke, first-time information about the emergence of Prince Dapo Abiodun?
Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, during the primaries, I wasn't one of those who was behind Prince Dapo Abiodun. That should tell you that we are people who have respect for party supremacy. The governor was able to convince many of us that the people of Ogun West, the ones that we call the Yewa Awori people, should produce the next governor. And that was agreed by majority, that it should be so. Now, I am a chartered arbitrator, and in arbitration, one of the instruments of reaching a truce when there are disagreements is the instrument of negotiation. And when you go to the table of negotiation and you seek to get something out of it, you don't go wanting 100%. It is even better that you don't go at all, because you're telling others who are coming to the same table that they are coming with their senses left behind at home. In Ogun State, we have 40 elective offices. It turned out that the incumbent governor wants to be the decider of who the occupier of those 40 offices are. And what I would have expected is a situation where he holds on to the governorship interest for the Yewa people, allowing the remaining 39 elective offices to be the basis of negotiation. But when everything was held up, those who felt aggrieved escalated the case beyond the state organ of the party to seek another level of justice. And in the ensuing imbroglio, President Abiodun emerged as the governorship candidate. So it was a case of chasing after too many rats and losing all at the end of the day. So we, as members of the party, decided to stay with the person that emerged as the candidate of the party, even though he wasn't particularly favored at that time. But I guess it was a good intention by the government, I mean the governor rather, but a bad approach in ensuring that that was realized. And that's what took us to where we are. Of course, in wanting to react, he has decided to take his loyalists to another party and deciding, of course, to give them support as the incumbent governor. But what many of us who are active players in politics forget is that those of us who are in the various parties, we're not even up to 10% of the voting population. And at the end of the day, it is the people who are onlookers that will decide who leads them, not somebody who holds the privilege of incumbency, using the instrumentality of government to coerce people to say, this person must be my successor. Nobody is God. God is the only decider, using the people, their vote and their voice to say, this is how it will go. And those are the people that we are talking to. We're not talking to anybody in government that will use his position for or against us. We're talking to the people who will decide.
Right, even after his emergence as the gubernatorial candidate, there's still the issue of his educational qualification on the front burner. So which certificate is he tendering?
Thank you very much. In many media houses, I have been able to also address this issue, even though the governorship candidate himself, in one of the TV channels precisely, has also addressed it. I will tell you the genesis of this case and leave it at the point where I consider that it will no longer be sub judice because the case is in court. When Prince Dapo Abiodun emerged, forces within the party who wanted to get the candidacy of the party at all costs came up with a case that says in his senatorial declaration to INEC in 2015 election, he declared that he was a degree holder, and that in the 2015 declaration to the same INEC, he declared that he holds a school certificate. There is absolutely nothing wrong in that. 2 times that I've contested election, and those 2 times I won. And the first one I declared up to master's level, which I had at that time. The second one, even though I had a doctorate, I still did not declare it. I declared only the school cert. Why? Experience have shown us that any declaration you make will open the tendency for people to start chasing after what is not missing. If the minimum qualification is school certificate, tender it. It's not a job interview. The people who are to interview you are the electorate. You are going to go out there and talk to them. So that disparity was what they were basing their allegation on, that it is a perjury for him to under-declare. There's nothing wrong with under-declaring. The question is, did you declare what is not right? And so they approached the court and said, well, he claims to have a degree in 2015. We cannot see his NYSC certificate. This time around he's declaring a school cert, and whatever it was, they wanted him disqualified. Among themselves, there is no unison. So what happened? The person that the government wanted to use to prosecute the case, when he had agreed with forces that wanted him to be the pseudo who will go and carry out the entire thing, decided to put in the legal processes that President Abiodun should be disqualified. He should be the candidate as Otumba Jimi Lawal. As soon as that angle to the case came up, that Jimi Lawal is asking the court to declare him the candidate, even the governor who was working hand in glove with him lost interest in that particular case. Yes, the case is going on. The merit of any declaration that has been made in that case, we have left for the court to decide. In my state, you don't bring people down just because you don't want electorate to hate them. It's this same state, Ogun State, where an alleged drug baron who was even pursued by the NDLEA in 2014-2015 for whatever it was, still emerged a senator, because the people looked beyond whatever it was that was being spinned in the media and still voted for him based on what message he took to them. We have gone beyond all of the distractions of those elements who just wanted to bring down the person of Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun. What we're doing now is we're talking to the electorate all around the state. The reception has been warm, the ovation is great, and we're confident that victory is certain on March 7th.
All right, there's still so much to talk about regarding politics in Ogun State, but meanwhile, we want to go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Please don't change your dial.
Our state one better, Lagos State one better. Our state one better, Lagos State one better. Who go do one for us? Who go do one for us? Not a better Lagos State. Next level call. Now you we want to. Now you we need
Okay now, APC government don't they share better things where they make life better for Lagosians. From the time of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, Babatunde Fashola and the Boko Wako, where Governor Akinwumi and Bode the Brekete everywhere for Lagos. The people of Lagos don't ready to vote to Babajide Sanwo-Olu as the next governor of Lagos State. So if it continue the good work, Babajide Sanwo-Olu na correct action man and go fit to take Lagos to the next level. People of Lagos, no get time for try your luck. Na APC party we all trust. Make we all come out on election day and vote to Babajide Sanwo-Olu as governor of Lagos State.
Now you want to.
Na a couple support group power this message.
Right, you're welcome back. Our guest is still here, Honorable Remmy Hassan. All right, now also in Ogun State, there's this issue of local, whether someone is from the eastern part or the western part.
Should I? There's this. Putting it in a clearer way. There's this maybe gentleman's agreement or maybe unwritten rotational consensus amongst the people of Ogun State. When Bengadane was there, he was actually from Jebuda's Ogun East. The current governor is from Ogun Central. So naturally, there's this thinking that the next governor will emerge from Ogun West. So how are you handling that? Because I know Prince Dapo Abiodun is from Ogun East. So how are you handling that?
Thank you very much. The first elected governor of the state, the late Chief Victor Olabisi Onabanjo, elected in 1979, is from the Ijebu stock, and that's Ogun East. At that time, the political divide was more of the Ijebu Remo on one side, the Egba and Egbado on the other side, using the Ogun River as the dividing line. And that was because build up to the Third Republic, the Ijebu and Egba provinces were the two provinces that merged to form Ogun State. Back in the days when Nigeria used to have 24 provinces. So those two provinces merged to form the political state called Ogun State in 1976. Of course, the military were in charge from 76 to 79. Bisi Onabanjo became governor. And of course, that particular republic was truncated in 1983, 31st December. And we were on the transition till 92, when there was a mix of both the civilian and the military. Babangida was still at the helms of affairs at the federal, and of course we had some civilian governors across all the states. Chief Olusegun Oshoba emerged as the governor, and he came from the Ogun Central. The Ogun Central thing was more of the creation of senatorial districts, and the Egba province was divided into 2 senatorial districts. The Ijebu province maintained only 1 senatorial district. When that happened, and Chief Oshoba now became the governor, of course that particular tenure was not, it didn't last the whole hop before the Abdul Salam Abubakar's transition came up to restart the entire democracy. Thank God it's been uninterrupted till date. In 1999, Chief Oshoba again got another shot at the governorship. So Ijebu took a shot, Egba took a shot. That's Ogun East, Ogun Central. Now, in 2003, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, the then president, wanted somebody either from Yewa or from Remo, which are the 2 subsets of the major ethnic group. The Ijebu having a subset of Remo, the Egba having a subset of the present-day Yewa people. And for whatever is worth, they were able to give him a Remo person. Okay. And that's in person of Otumba Daniel, who is from Ogun East. Now, don't forget that I said the 2 ethnic nationalities in Ogun East are Ijebu and Remo. That gave the Ogun East as a senatorial district now a semblance of 2 shots at the governorship. So everybody agreed that after Gbenga Daniel, it will be the turn of the Yewa people. It was an agreement. Of course, it was not well managed as well. Otumba Gbenga Daniel wanted Goyega Isiaka. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo at that time wanted General Olure as the governor. And because that process was not well managed, it turned out that the infighting between the 2 of them produced the present governor, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, from Central. And of course, he sympathized with the Yewa people for not being able to get it, and promised them that after him, he will ensure that they get it. It is that promise that he was, seriously concerned on bringing to reality, resulting in another bad succession management, and that led to where we are. The question now is, how do we take care of the Yewa people? The Yewa people have never ceased to be part of the political state called Ogun State. Our candidate has promised them on live television, with millions of Nigerians watching, that if he emerges, then he will ensure as well that they succeed him. It might be looked at as another political pronouncement, but learning from history of this poor succession management of the immediate past 2 administrations that did not help the Yewa cause, I think a lot of lessons should have been learned, and the Yewa people themselves will do things differently going forward, because no single senatorial district can produce a governor except with the assistance of 1 or 2 other senatorial districts. So there's a promise from our candidate that he will look their way after his own tenure. They also should be ready
after
to address.
After a 4-year tenure or 2 terms?
Of course, it's going to be 2 terms, 8 years.
All right. So, what message is he actually taking to or bringing to the people of Ogun State? He's been going around doing campaigns. We've seen him on television. What message is he actually taking to the people, to the electorate? What does he want to do differently in Ogun State?
The caption of the campaign of our candidate is building our future together. The brilliant performance of the present governor would have been a lot better if stakeholders were part of that development. You don't plan for somebody's development without the person's input. If stakeholders are not part of your development agenda, you will be succeeding by your own perception, but you are disconnected from the reality of what the people need. I am part and parcel of the political process in Ogun State, and I can categorically say to our people that if they have a choice, some of the projects embarked upon will not be a priority at the time that they were embarked upon. What do I mean? Our candidate, for example, is saying infrastructural development is good, but let's take the infrastructural development to areas where they will add value to our entire being as a state. Why do we need a flyover in a city center when the same amount that brings that flyover into reality can be used to open up an area that has potential and it has remained a potentially cash cow kind of a place for over 2 decades? Why are we taking resources away?
You want to be specific?
I will be specific. We have a place in Ogun State called Olokola. Olokola is in the Ogun waterside area of Ogun State, and it is sitting at the mouth of the Atlantic Ocean in a uniquely located site. That place is the deepest part of Atlantic Ocean today, where there is no kind of vessel, no matter how large, that cannot sail and berth there. When the potential of that place was discovered, even foreign investors were willing to put down their money to develop a port there. And if that port had been developed, Apapa would have been decongested, the traffic would be a thing of the past. All that all these investors needed was a road that opens up the place. Why are we not building that kind of a road? Because if that road is built and people bring all their various industries there.
How far did the OGD administration go in opening up that place?
He went as far as ensuring that every plan that needs to be implemented is put in place, believing of course that it is his choice successor that will emerge. But as soon as the present government came, everything about Olokola was thrown into the cupboard. It was never revisited. And because of that, Dangote Refinery relocated to Lekki. You will stand at Olokola seaside, you will be looking at Lekki in front of you. That's to tell you the kind of privilege and advantage we have in Ogun State. Our candidate is seriously concerned on opening up that place. As an estate surveyor and valuer, on land allocation alone, once that place opens up, we will not get less than 100 billion naira per annum for the first 5 years.
100 billion?
Yes, on land allocation alone.
That's
so why are we denying ourselves privileges that can open up our state just because we have parochial mindset that, oh, this place must be sufficiently underdeveloped so that my own side can develop? The state capital will be the pride of all, no doubt. But don't deny yourself the resources that will do more at the state capital by not opening up the places that should be opened up. Agbara is our cash cow as well. Almost all the industries in the Lagos region are there. They have the poorest road network in Ogun State today. Why are we not building roads there? So we can have a good intention and misapply the resources by not doing the needful, because we think the people that we are developing their place will look our way when the time of election comes. How has those infrastructures bettered their life?
All right.
So those are the things that we are thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, there's more to say, but I would like to take a quick commercial break. Stay with us.
Doctor, I'm on change, we want to. I'm Prince, Dr. Abiodun be the answer.
In a state where growth is needed, what more can we ask other than a man fit for the achievement of growth to govern it? Prince Dr. Abiodun, a man that has made the growth and future of Ogun State his priority. With his level of integrity, he is sure going to take Ogun State to the next level. Vote Prince Dr. Abiodun for Governor of Ogun State, Engineer Mrs. Noimot Salako Oyedele as Deputy, Muhammad Buhari as President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. In one accord, we can build our future together. So, for more accountability, more equality amongst men and women, young and old, rich and poor, for more growth, more infrastructures, and more dividends of democracy, vote Prince Dr. Abiodun as Governor of Ogun State. Vote sustenance. Vote next level.
All right, you're welcome back. Before we went on that break, we were talking about projects, implementation, infrastructural development. Now, there's a different thing to have the policy on ground, and then another thing is implementation. But we want, from what you have been saying, we want to believe that the administration, let me say incoming, incoming administration will do much more better than what we have.
Coincidentally,
so let's look at.
Let me just remind you, Prince Dr. Abiodun was the chairman of the board of Olokola Free Trade Zone when Otumba Gbenga Daniel was governor. So he has yes, he knows exactly what he's going there to do. He's not going to be a stranger in taking the right decision. All
right, let's look at the health sector now. What is on ground and what will be built up to ensure that there's a better service for the people of that
health service delivery.
Thank you very much. Our candidate has brought up a very, very implementable policy that includes also healthcare. In Ogun State today, our primary healthcare system has broken down. We cannot run away from that reality. We don't have a functional primary healthcare delivery system. And Prince Dr. Abiodun with his team, we've gone round to do some reconnaissance, and we have discovered that if only we can fix the primary healthcare, fixing it now means ensuring that those dilapidated structures are renovated, but don't just renovate them and leave them like that. The equipment and the personnel that need to be there to make that place work must also be put in place. And we're taking a census of how many doctors do we have, how many other medical personnel do we have, how many do we need, what gap do we have, how do we proceed to ensure that we bridge those gaps. That is going to be the first 100 days stroke 1 year immediate short-term plan. When we achieve that largely, we will have reduced the pressure that is being put on secondary and tertiary healthcare delivery system. That in essence is the first thing that our candidate wants to look at. Then he also has this very lofty and laudable plan of ensuring that a medical health center of excellence, one per senatorial district, where almost all kind of ailments can be thoroughly looked at, so that the man that is in the Jebu axis does not need to travel all the way to Abeokuta before getting a total kind of healthcare service. The man at the Central Senatorial District, same thing. The man at the West Senatorial District, same thing. It will also reduce the rate at which our people need to look for medical tourism outside the country. Yeah. So those are his immediate plans. Of course, the secondary and tertiary level will also be supplied with what they need to function effectively. So the plan for the health sector is definite, and of course he wants to hit the ground running once he's sworn into office.
Okay, what's this blueprint for education, for instance?
Oh, beautiful. The current government embarked on the model college approach to secondary education, even though many of us believed that it was a misdirection of fund, but we will still not shy away from running them. We may have a better approach to get those places running. Most of our schools are a product of a public school. Every level of education, primary, secondary, tertiary, up to doctoral level, was public school. So if I'm a privileged beneficiary of public sector education, I should also share in the view of my principal, who wants to ensure that public sector education is sufficiently attended to. There is going to be a major, drastic, radical approach to ensuring that the infrastructures in our schools are fixed, both buildings, furnitures, and what have you. That's one side of it. Some of our teachers, as good as they are, they have not been exposed to training that will bring them up to date with today's reality. And so we are putting in the classroom 16th century orientation to solve 21st century problem. So that is also part of what he wants to do. Teachers will now get up-to-date training. Come to tertiary education level. He wants to, for example, change the pattern where the underfunding that is going on as at now, wherein those schools transfer the burden to the students, because if the government doesn't bring sufficient funds, the school will survive by ensuring that students pay high tuition. So he has decided that another approach to funding that will lessen the pressure on students will also be employed. But basically two major controversial tertiary education decisions will have to be taken that will sanitize our tertiary education sector. Moshood Abiola University of Science and Technology has been established, and that effectively brought an end to Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. A new Ogun State Polytechnic has been established and relocated to Ibukia in Ogun State. That means, in the record of the National Board for Technical Education as of today, Ogun State Polytechnic is a new school needing accreditation for all its courses because it's in a new location. Moshood Abiola University of Science and Technology, that is just new, also need to get accreditation from NUC because it is a new school needing all manner of professors, doctoral degree holders, and what have you. Our principal, the next governor of Ogun State, by the grace of God, is putting together a plan that will ensure that there is sanity in this paradigm that shifted concerning these decisions that were made. Not necessarily to make sure that those decisions don't see the light of the day, but to do things better in a way that the result will make everybody happy.
All right, so before we, because we have just a few minutes left, you've said so much about the power of the electorate, especially in electioneering. Now, what are the antecedents of Dapo Abiodun that should make people trust him? Because one thing I know is that the electorate really don't have so much trust or confidence in leadership anymore. So why should we trust him?
Please take this alongside. We have two other gubernatorial candidates from Ogun East, PDP, gubernatorial candidates, and then SDP. Now all these people are coming from the same zone. Would that not be depleting or splitting the votes of the principal, and would that actually enhance his chances?
Thank you very much. So talking about trust. Trust is a major issue in politics, and more often than not, as a person talking to the electorate, the likelihood of 100% trust is slim, very, very slim, and that is what the Nigerian political ecosystem has turned out to be. However, there are people with pedigree who have been there and have been able to let the people know that they can be believed for who they are. So if people look at you as an individual and the trust is shaky, they look at those standing by you that they can vouch for. So to that extent, the caliber of individuals standing with our candidate, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, and many others like that, is making all of the electorate in Ogun State have a rethink as to the person of Dr. Dapo Abiodun. As for the chances of our candidate, especially in Ogun East, where there are other gubernatorial candidates, 2 weeks ago, a decision was taken at the Palace of the Aujale as to where the pendulum should swing, and it is reverberating among the electorate. To that extent, the people know exactly where to put their vote on March 2nd.
So you want to talk to those people in 10 seconds?
To the electorate of Ogun State, it is all about your interest. Yes, politics is all about interest, but more about your interest. Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun is not just interested in building the state. He wants to build that state, Ogun State, the great gateway state, with you. And that's why he said, let's build our future together.
That's Honorable Remmy Hassan, one-time Deputy Speaker, Ogun State House of Assembly. Currently is the APC spokesperson for Prince Dapo Abiodun, APC Gubernatorial candidate, Ogun State. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
All right, and thank you, viewers, for watching this morning. I am Jumoke Michaels. We'll see you again on Wednesday.
All right, Wednesday is another meeting day. My name is Banji Pusari.
I'm on dead, we want to. I'm Prince Dr. Abiodun be the answer.
In the state where growth is needed, what more can we ask other than a man fit for the achievement of growth to govern it? Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun, a man that has made the growth and future of Ogun State his priority. With his level of integrity, he is sure going to take Ogun State to the next level. Vote Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun for Governor of Ogun State, Engineer Mrs. Noimot Salako Oyedele as Deputy, Muhammadu Buhari as President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. In one accord, we can build our future together. So, for more accountability, more equality amongst men and women, young and old, rich and poor, for more growth, more infrastructures, and more dividends of democracy, vote Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun as Governor of Ogun State. Vote sustenance. Vote next level.